Hello, my students. My name is Mr. Victor Tadei Clement. I'm geography teacher. Today, we will learn our topic is elementary survey and map marking. Is from 3 topics. But my student, this is a new topic in our syllabus. So I will give a short history about this topic. Survey is beginning in Egypt during 120 BC. The Egyptian scientists, they needed to measure the distance and the area of the land which needed to use for cultivation. But they use this knowledge in order to make a plot. This plot for reducing the amount of taxes which were paid for the landowner on that times. This lesson, we will deal with a measurement of a piece of land, and also we can use a different equipment which may use it to measure the land or to measure the area or whatever, what is the purpose they need in our environment we are living. So my student, before discussing the uses and the types of material we're going to use, let us know the meaning of survey and the meaning of survey. Meaning of survey. And second, we'll look also the meaning of land survey. Survey is a science and a systematic measure of distance, area. We say survey. A survey is a science. Is a science of systematic measurement of distance. Height, and angle on the Earth's surfaces. So there we have 3 words here. We can say the distance, height, and angle. So it's needed systematic. We mean we can use a different step in order to measure this distance and to measure height and to measure angle. So this is a survey. But you also have another term here is a land surveying. Land surveying, this is a techniques of measuring area, distance, and altitude on the Earth's surfaces, So these 2 terms, when we look, we can say this is a science. This means it's a knowledge which a student or which a person needed to have in order to measure a distance, height, and angle. But when you say surveying, this is a physical work, or we can say is a field work. The people now are going to the field in order to measure, to make the activity of measurement. So these activities we can say is a techniques. It means a teacher, or we can say a group of people who are using different techniques in order to measure a distance. Techniques that you can measure area, distance, and altitude on the land. So these 2 terms, one is a knowledge, we can say a science uses to measure, and this is a step which a student or group of people who are going to the field in order to measure. So this you can say the 2 words which we needed to know before proceeding in other area. So on that time, what is the purpose? You can say, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? Purpose of studying survey. My students, as we say before in history, we can say this is a knowledge obtained by Egyptians in order to divide a plot on land. So the purpose of survey now all over the world is, we can say, is determine the horizontal distance. One is to determine the horizontal distance. Horizontal distance from one area to another, or we can say if you want to build the house and to prepare the playground, in order to make it, to prepare or to know the distance of that ground or distance of the road where we need to build. That is one. The second one is to determine the vertical height. To determine the vertical distance. We can say vertical distance, or we can say is height of any vertical object. Example, my student, we say is a mountain. I have some mountain here. So if we needed to know the height of the mountain, is the order the survey can be used. We can use a survey in order to measure. This is the height of the area. This you can say is a mountain. So this is another purpose. I think the one is, we can say, is horizontal distance. We need the horizontal area, and also we can find the distance of the vertical object, such as the mountain. And the third one we can say is determine the area. Also, to determine the area in the field. Here, the area always, maybe you can say in an area which is a rectangles, or you can say is a square object, we needed to know the area. So this also is survey is needed. So here when we look, we can say this is a major purpose of studying survey in our level, and the other level we going. We can say determine the horizontal, determine the vertical, and let us determine the field. So we can say that is one purpose of is three purpose. And the other purpose of studying survey is also, you can say, is to determine the direction of various objects. To determine the position of different objects on the Earth's surface. Also, one among the branch later we can discuss is compass survey. Compass always can use a position, or we can say can use north direction, south direction, and east and west. So this you can say we can use it in a compass. So if we need to find the position, we can find a position according on a measurement, which maybe you can say the mountain is located in northern hemisphere, but there is 10 kilometers from the known or from the fixed point. Another is to determine the location. To determine the location of object. Location of object. This, when we come back to the history of survey, you can say a science they needed to divide a plot, but also the instruments used in that time were using by geometry. So geometry is a study of using studying dealing with the lines, pointy, and we can say the length of any object. So we needed the location of any object, we can use survey in the field. So by that we can say is a purpose of using a survey. So my student, as you say, survey is a field work. So this is a practical work, as you can say, is learning in a practical geography. So we need the step. Before doing this activity, what is the step we are taking to take before doing the actual weights, or can you say in an actual study? Here we can say is a stage of conducting survey. Stage of conducting a survey. In a survey, we have three major stages. Three major stages which he needed to follow before doing the actual working in the field. The number one, we can say, should be make a pre-visiting. A pre-visiting. Survey team or survey group, or we can say a people who deals with survey needed to measure. First should be make a pre-visiting to the area in the field. What is the importance of this? First, to know the place where the group of surveyors going to conduct the actual work. We mean that the people were going to know, first to know the area of a place where the group of people of survey, or we call that surveyors, going to conduct the actual work. That is the one, the importance of pre-visiting. A second importance here, to remove the obstacles on the area where the work were going to take place. Also, we say can be take place. Also, the small obstacle, such as forest, such as bushes, we can remove first if we know the area where we're going to study. First, if we're doing the pre-visiting in the area, we can remove that obstacle, which maybe can hinder the activities on the area. And also, the third one, to prepare the station where the peoples, or we can say a group of surveyors were going to stay. We can say to stay or to keep their instrument in the area. So here we can say reconnaissance is very important in order to know the area and to prepare the station where the people were going to stay before doing their work. So this is the one we can say is importance of surveying. A second step here is, we can say, is actual survey. This is a second step, actual surveying. This is now a group of surveying who are doing actual measurement in the field. This step we call it is actual surveying. This involves a group of people or involves a group of students. If the students they want to measure the playground in their school or the area of their school, so they participate, the all students and the leaders and the teachers to do the actual work. And the third step is presentation. This is a presentation of the work. So here now, our students, or example, maybe we are already measure the school playground. We can say here is a 10 centimeters or 10 meters, and here we can say the 5 meters. So we prepare the graph. We can say we prepare either map, or sometimes we can prepare a figure in order to present to the teachers or to the surveyor department, or where the people who are needed that information in the area. So this is a 3 step we are taking in order to conduct a survey work. One we can say is pre-visiting, a second is actual survey, and thirdly we can say is a presentation. So this, my student, is a step of doing a survey. So we say survey is a measurement, my student. If we want to measure the land or to measure the horizontal, or we can say is a vertical area on here. So in our world now, we can say there is high different demands for knowing the distance of the area. There is some, we can say, the people who are needed to build the house, they need to measure. The people who are building the road, they need to measure. The people who are doing mining activities, they need to measure. The people who are fly on air, they need to measure distance from one town to another town. So there is a different purpose of surveying. But there is a same one surveying, or there is a one surveying, or there is one branch of surveying. My student, there is no. There is variety of branch they deal with. Take example, maybe the branch of survey. Branch of surveying. Example, if a person needed to measure the area in order to prepare the map, example, to prepare the map, which type of survey maybe they conduct, my student? Actually, this you can say is a topographical survey. Is a topographical surveying, because topographical we can say is a study of is one among the types of map. So if we need to prepare a map, we should be doing a topographical survey to measure distance, to measure the area, and to present some features which needed to know on the map. As my student, I think we know the map, we are familiar with the map, so one we can say is used to make that. Also, if we need to build the roads here, if build the roads, here we can say what survey used is engineering surveying. Engineering surveying. So the survey used here on building the roads to measure the distance, width of the roads, and the material needed on there, so that you can deal with the engineering survey. Also, if the people or country needed to supply water on the area. So which types of survey also? Yes. This can be used, a survey is called the hydrographic survey. hydrographic surveying. So, my student, I give here some example. Don't keep in your mind, we can say as a survey is a study of measurement, only can deal with a single measurement of all the object is the same. But you can say is a different because there is different activity taking on the S. Also, there is a type C branch of survey which is dealing with on that particular area. So that is one amongst the example of surveying. But the survey, this we can say is a different purpose. So in our level, we can discuss or we can learn the survey according to the method used. The survey according to the method used. There are 4 types. There are 4 types of surveying according to the method used. One, my student, the one we can say is a chain surveying. Is a chain surveying. A second one is a leveling surveying. Third one is a compass surveying. And the fourth one is a plane table surveying. This is a survey according to the method. So today we can begin with a chain survey. This is a survey, a chain survey. Chain survey is a type of survey used to measure the horizontal distance on the flat land. This we call a chain, or sometimes my student this we call is a tape survey. So we can say it's used to measure the horizontal distance on the flat land. So this can use a different equipment that maybe can be used. So we can say the equipment used on chain survey. The equipment used on chain survey. As we say, the group of people or students who are needed to measure. So they have the equipment used to measure. My student we call is a chain survey. Before the development of science and the technology, the people who are using a chain. Now it's not familiar in our country. So we can use a tape survey. Number one we can say is a tape measure. Tape measure. We can use a tape measure. So my students, there is 3 things here I want to tell you. One, to know the instrument, to mention the instrument. A second one, to know the material used on that instrument. And thirdly, to know the uses of that instrument. Example, we say is a tape. Which is tape measure? My student, this is a tape measure. I think is familiar, we know. This is a tape measure. So this used to measure the horizontal distance. First, this is a tape measure. It's made up of metal and plastic. What is the uses? This is used to measure the horizontal distance. That is uses. We can say the very important things to know the instrument first. In examination, we needed to draw this. So in your work, you can go into to draw, and then to know what is made up, and later to know the uses. So I think my student, this is a good way to answer the question. A second instrument is a peg. This is the instrument we call is a peg. Is a peg. Peg is this one. This is a local one we have in a society. But is a modern one, can have where it can be smoothly and good in order to draw a number. Maybe you can take a marker pen, you can say what is the length of this, you can say is a 10 centimeter, but this is our local, my student. I think we see in our home we are using, when you're building the house, we can use this peg. So this peg is here, what is made up? This is made up of wood. Is made up of wood. Is made up of wood. And what is used? Used to mark the permanent point here, to make a permanent point. So if we are measuring and we get a 10 centimeter, we can take a peg. In a first position, you can take a peg, and in the last position, you can put your peg. So we can know this is a distance of 10 centimeters. And also, I can show some here. Instrument also should have one is a tape measure, a second is a peg, and thirdly, we can have a field notebook. This field notebook is not any book can be is a field notebook. This field notebook mostly can be open on such a way that. So why we can say this? Because if you want to record it, we can record it on this page and we can continue to this page. If there is book, you can open to other page is not good. So this can be covered in a single direction. So if we are moved towards, we can mention to here. This is a field notebook. We call this is a field notebook. So this is a field notebook. A third one is a field notebook. What is used? Used for recording the data obtained in the field. But this notebook is followed by with a pencil. Should be noted by pencil. So there is other instrument we can say is not familiar in our area. Maybe the ranging rod. Ranging rod, I think when we pass in the area where the people were building roads, so you can see a pole which is painted in different color. So that you can say is ranging rod. So that ranging rod is a simple to mark a temporal point when the people were measured. So my student, let us end up with our lesson for today. We can continue with the other parts of surveying, but I can leave you with some question here in order to work as a homework and can help you with your sister at home. Our first question is, what is surveying? What is surveying? What is survey? We can say what is survey and land surveying. That is your question number one, my student. Question number two, identify the types of surveying. Identify the types of surveying. And our last question, my student, examine the importance of surveying. Importance of surveying. You can use a 4-point. Student, you can use a 4-point. So this is, I give a question in order to discuss with yourself and to discuss with your sister and brother at home, in order to help you what is survey and identify the types of survey and examine some importance. I think in general, if we are learning here, you can have some idea to know what is the importance of studying our survey. But students, is the end of our lesson. Bye-bye. You can see in our next lesson. Thank you.